Marcus Chen's fist connected with the first man's throat before his daughter's scream finished echoing through the marble corridor. 6 seconds. That's all it took to drop 3 armed men in tactical gear. 6 seconds to destroy 7 years of invisibility. 6 seconds to trigger a chain of events that would bring a federal motorcade to his crumbling apartment building by sunrise. The CEO, who never knew his name, would soon discover he'd been cleaning her floors for years. The man who wanted him dead would finally find him. And his 8-year-old daughter, the only person who mattered, would learn that her daddy wasn't just a janitor. He'd been something else once. Something dangerous. Drop a comment with your city below. I want to see how far this story travels. You won't believe what happens next. The security camera on the 42nd floor of Titan Industries Tower blinked red at 11:47 p.m., recording what nobody was supposed to see. Marcus Chen pushed his janitor's cart past executive offices that smelled like leather and ambition. His daughter Lily sat on the bench near the elevator bank, legs swinging, working through multiplication tables in a notebook that had seen better days. She was 8 years old and small for her age, with her mother's dark eyes and her father's quiet determination. "Daddy, what's 7 times 8? "What do you think it is?" She chewed her pencil. 56. "That's my girl." Marcus emptied the trash from the corner office, the one that belonged to Victoria Sterling, CEO of Titan Industries. He'd cleaned this office 5 nights a week for 7 years. He knew she took her coffee black, worked until midnight most nights, and kept a framed photo of herself as a teenager on the bookshelf behind her desk. In the photo she was smiling, but her eyes looked haunted. He'd never spoken to her beyond "excuse me" and "good night, ma'am." That was the point. Invisible, forgettable, safe. "Daddy, I need to use the bathroom." Marcus glanced at his watch. "The one by the executive lounge is closer. You remember where?" "Past the big conference room with the fancy chairs." "That's right. Straight there and back." "Okay, don't wander." "I never wander." She did wander, actually. Last week she'd ended up in the IT department asking someone named Derek about how computers talk to each other. Derek had been delighted. Marcus had been mortified. Lily disappeared around the corner. Marcus continued working muscle memory, guiding his hands while his mind drifted where it always drifted at night to June. 3 years gone, and he could still hear her laugh, still smell the jasmine shampoo she used, still feel the weight of her hand in his during those final hospital days. "Promise me you'll give Lily a normal life?" June had whispered, her voice already fading. "No more missions, no more secrets, just be her dad." "I promise." He'd kept that promise, walked away from the only life he'd known from the unit that had no official name, from the men who'd trusted him with their lives. He'd become nobody, a ghost cleaning up after people who'd never know what he used to be. The stairwell door opened. Marcus looked up. 4 men emerged, moving with the kind of coordinated silence that came from training, not luck. They wore maintenance uniforms, but the uniforms were wrong too. New, too clean, and the men inside them moved like operators, not janitors. His heart rate didn't change. His hands kept working. But every instinct he'd buried for 7 years suddenly roared to life. They hadn't seen him yet. Their attention was focused down the hallway toward the executive lounge, toward where Lily had gone. Then he heard it, small feet running. His daughter's voice high and terrified. "Daddy?" Lily burst around the corner. Her notebook fell, papers scattered. She was running, flat out, her face white with fear. The 4 men turned toward her like sharks, sensing blood and water. "Daddy, please stop them." Marcus didn't think. Thinking took too long. Thinking meant watching his daughter get hurt while his brain processed options and calculated risks. His body remembered what his mind had tried to forget. The janitor's cart crashed aside. The first man reaching for Lily never saw Marcus coming. An elbow strike to the throat, precise and brutal. The man went down choking. The second attacker swung a punch that would have broken ribs. Marcus slipped inside his guard, drove his palm into the man's solar plexus. felt the air explode from his lungs. Follow through knee to the face. The attacker dropped. The third pulled a knife. Marcus caught his wrist mid-thrust, twisted until something popped, swept his legs. The man's head cracked against marble. The fourth was smarter. He backed up, hand moving toward his jacket. Don't. Marcus's voice was flat, empty of everything except promise. You reach for that weapon, and I'll make sure you never use your hands again. The man froze. 6 seconds. 4 men neutralized. Lily stood frozen, her small chest heaving, tears streaming down her face. Then she ran. Not away, never away. She crashed into Marcus's arms, and he caught her, held her, felt her heart hammering against his chest. It's okay, baby. It's okay. Daddy's got you. But it wasn't okay. These weren't random attackers. Their gear, their coordination, their target selection, these were professionals. Someone had sent them. And worse, someone had sent them here to the one place Marcus had thought was safe. The security camera blinked red, recording everything. 7 years of invisibility shattered. Marcus looked at the unconscious men, then at the camera, then at his daughter's terrified face. Lily, I need you to listen very carefully. Can you do that? She nodded against his chest. I need you to go to the employee break room. Lock the door. Don't open it for anyone except me. Understand? I'm scared. I know, sweetheart, but I promise you're safe. I just need a few minutes to clean up this mess. Like when I spilled juice. Exactly like that. She pulled back, wiped her eyes. Okay, Daddy. He walked her to the break room, watched her lock the door from inside, heard her drag a chair against it for extra measure. Smart girl. June's daughter. Then he turned back to the 4 men. 3 were still unconscious. The 4th was sitting up, holding his throat, eyes watering. Marcus knelt down beside him. When he spoke, his voice carried the weight of a life he'd left behind. You're going to tell me who sent you. You're going to tell me why you're here. And you're going to tell me right now, or I'm going to start breaking bones until you remember your manners. The man coughed, tried to speak, couldn't. Marcus waited. Patience was a weapon too. Finally, the man rasped out 2 words that made Marcus's blood run cold. Konstantin Volkov. The name hit Marcus like a physical blow. Volkov, the trafficker they'd taken down 12 years ago. The monster who'd kidnapped Ambassador Sterling's daughter. The ghost Marcus thought was buried in a supermax prison somewhere in the Midwest. Volkov's in prison. The man managed a painful smile. Was in prison. Got out 6 months ago. Been looking for you ever since. I'm nobody. I'm a janitor. You're Marcus Chen, former Special Forces, Unit Designation Wraith. You're the one who put Volkov away. You're the one he wants dead. The man coughed again. He's already taken out the others. You're the last one. The others. Marcus felt his world tilting. Your old unit, 7 men, all dead in the last 4 months, made to look like accidents, heart attacks, car crashes, gas leaks. The man's eyes held something like pity. You were supposed to be the finale, but we weren't supposed to grab the kid. That was improvisation. Wrong place, wrong time. Marcus's hands started shaking. Not from fear, from rage. Where is he? Like I'd tell you that. Marcus stood, pulled out his phone, dialed 911. Wait. What are you doing? Calling the police. You're going to jail. And you're going to tell them everything you just told me, or I'm going to make sure every criminal in lockup knows you gave up Konstantin Volkov. The man's face went pale. You can't do that. Watch me. The 911 operator answered. Marcus reported an attempted kidnapping at Titan Industries Tower, gave the floor number, hung up before she could ask questions. Then, he went to get Lily. She was sitting in the break room with her back against the door, clutching her notebook like a shield. When she saw his face, she didn't ask questions. She just took his hand. We're going home, baby. What about work? Work's done for tonight. They left through the service elevator, the one that didn't have cameras. Marcus knew every blind spot in this building. 7 years of paying attention, of mapping exits and vulnerabilities he'd hoped he'd never need. The street outside was empty. Their apartment was 12 blocks away. Marcus carried Lily on his back, her arms wrapped around his neck, her breath warm against his ear. "Daddy." "Yeah, those men. They wanted to hurt me, didn't they?" He couldn't lie to her. June had made him promise never to lie to their daughter. "Yeah, baby, they did." "But you stopped them." "I did." "Are more bad men coming?" Marcus's throat tightened. "I don't know." "Will you stop them too?" "Every single one." Their apartment was in a building that had seen better days. Peeling paint, broken elevator, the smell of old cooking and older regrets. But it was home. It was theirs. Marcus locked 3 deadbolts behind them, checked every window, pulled the curtains closed. Lily was asleep before her head hit the pillow. Marcus sat beside her bed, watching her chest rise and fall, memorizing her face in case tomorrow everything changed. His phone buzzed. Unknown number. He answered without speaking. "Mr. Chen." A woman's voice, cultured, controlled with an edge of steel underneath. "This is Victoria Sterling. I believe we need to talk." "How did you get this number?" "I own one of the largest tech companies in the country. Getting a phone number isn't difficult." A pause. "I saw the security footage, all of it. I know what you did tonight." Marcus's jaw tightened. "I protected my daughter." "You did more than that. You neutralized 4 trained operatives in 6 seconds. That's not something a janitor knows how to do." "What do you want, Ms. Sterling?" "I want you to meet me, tomorrow morning. 7 a.m., my office." "I don't work for you anymore." "You never worked for me, Mr. Chen. You worked in my building. There's a difference." Her voice softened slightly. "Please, this is important. For both of us." "Why?" "Because the men who came for your daughter tonight, they came for me first. You just got in the way." The line went dead. Marcus sat in the dark, holding his phone, watching his daughter sleep. 7 years of peace. 7 years of invisibility. Gone. Konstantin Volkov knew where he was. Victoria Sterling knew what he was, and somewhere out there, more men were coming. He thought about running, grabbing Lily and disappearing. He'd done it before, but running meant looking over his shoulder forever. Running meant teaching Lily to be afraid. June's voice in his memory. "Promise me you'll give her a normal life." Normal was over. But maybe, just maybe, he could give her something better. Safety. Real safety. The kind that came not from hiding, but from ending threats permanently. Marcus stood, walked to the closet, moved aside old coats and boxes of Lily's baby clothes, pulled up the loose floorboard. The steel case was still there, untouched for 7 years. He opened it. Inside 3 passports with 3 different names, $40,000 in cash, a satellite phone, and a small black notebook filled with numbers he'd hoped never to call again. Marcus closed the case without taking anything out. Not yet. Tomorrow, he'd meet Victoria Sterling. He'd hear what she had to say, and then he'd decide. But one way or another, Konstantin Volkov had made a mistake coming after him. Marcus Chen had spent 7 years being invisible. It was time to remind the world why they'd called him Wraith. Marcus didn't sleep. He sat at their small kitchen table watching the street through a gap in the curtains, counting the cars that passed too slowly, the pedestrians who walked with too much purpose. At 4:17 a.m., a dark sedan circled the block twice. At 5:03, a man in a jogger's outfit stopped across the street to tie his shoe for 45 seconds. They were being watched. He made coffee as the sun rose strong and black, the way June used to make it. Lily emerged from her bedroom at 6:30, still in her pajamas, rubbing her eyes. "Morning, baby." "Are we going to school today?" Marcus poured orange juice into her favorite cup, The one with the faded cartoon character she'd loved when she was 5. Not today. We're going to visit someone at Daddy's work. The fancy lady who called, he shouldn't be surprised she'd heard. Lily had her mother's ability to absorb information even when she seemed distracted. Yeah, the fancy lady. Is she mad you broke those men? I don't think so. Good. Because they were bad and you're good. She said it with the absolute certainty only an 8-year-old could muster. Bad people should get broken when they try to hurt kids. Marcus knelt down beside her chair. Lily, I need you to understand something. What happened last night that's not normal? That's not how the world usually works. I know, Daddy. Usually you just clean floors and tell me to do my homework. She took a sip of juice. But sometimes bad things happen and you have to stop being normal for a little while. That's okay. His throat tightened. Who taught you that? You did. You told me when Mommy got sick. You said sometimes life isn't normal, but we do our best anyway. He pulled her into a hug, held her tight. She smelled like sleep and strawberry shampoo. You're too smart for your own good, you know that. Mommy used to say that too. They took the bus to Titan Industries Tower. Marcus watched every passenger who boarded every car that followed too closely. His hand never left Lily's shoulder. The tower's lobby was marble and glass and morning light. Security guards in crisp uniforms nodded at Marcus with new awareness. Word had spread. The janitor wasn't just a janitor anymore. The elevator to the executive floor required a key card Marcus no longer had. The guard at the desk made a call. 30 seconds later, the elevator opened. Ms. Sterling is expecting you, Mr. Chen. They rode up in silence. Lily pressed her face against the glass wall of the elevator, watching the city shrink below. We're really high up, Daddy. 42 floors. Do you think we could see our apartment from here? Maybe, if we knew which direction to look. The elevator opened directly into Victoria Sterling's office suite. It was everything their apartment wasn't: spacious, pristine, expensive. But it felt empty in a way their cramped rooms never did. Victoria stood at the window, her back to them. She wore a dark blue suit that probably cost more than Marcus made in a month. When she turned, her face was composed, but her eyes were tired. Mr. Chen, thank you for coming. Her gaze dropped to Lily. And you must be Lily. Lily moved slightly behind her father's leg. You're very tall. I get that a lot. Victoria's expression softened. I have some things set up in the conference room. Books, coloring supplies. Would you like to use them while your father and I talk? Is it okay, Daddy? Marcus looked at Victoria. The conference room has windows. Bulletproof glass. And I have 2 security personnel stationed outside the door. Former Secret Service. They'll keep her safe. I don't know them. You will. James Martin, please come in. 2 men entered. Late 30s, fit alert. They moved like professionals, but not like predators. Marcus recognized the difference. James Donnelly, former Presidential Protection Division. Martin Price, former Counter-Assault Team. Victoria gestured to Lily. This is Lily. She's to be treated as a VIP. No one gets near her without Mr. Chen's explicit permission. James knelt down to Lily's eye level. Hi, Lily. I have a daughter about your age. Her name's Emma. She really likes to draw. Do you like to draw? Lily nodded slowly. Well, we've got some really good colored pencils in the other room. The fancy kind that don't break when you press hard. Want to check them out? She looked up at Marcus. He studied the 2 men reading body language, assessing threat level. Finally, he nodded. Okay, baby. I'll be right in the next room if you need me. I know, Daddy. You're always right there when I need you. She followed James into the conference room. Through the glass wall, Marcus watched her settle at the long table, examining the art supplies with cautious interest. Victoria waited until the door closed. Please sit. I'd rather stand. Then I'll stand too. I don't like looking up at people during important conversations. They faced each other across the expanse of her office. The men who attacked last night, Victoria began. 3 are in federal custody. The 4th is in the hospital with a fractured skull. They're not talking, but I have resources that go beyond official channels. I know who sent them. Konstantin Volkov. Her eyes widened slightly. You know. One of them told me before the police arrived. He also told me Volkov's been systematically killing everyone from my old unit. 7 men dead in 4 months. 8, Victoria corrected quietly. Thomas Morrison died yesterday. Heart attack during a morning jog. The medical examiner ruled it natural causes, but I had someone look closer. Traces of potassium chloride in his system. Undetectable unless you know what to look for. Marcus felt the room tilt. Tommy. The kid from Detroit, who could crack any safe, who'd saved Marcus's life in Mumbai, who sent Christmas cards every year with photos of his 3 daughters. How do you know this? Because Konstantin Volkov isn't just coming after your unit, Mr. Chen. He's coming after me, and he's been planning it for 12 years. She moved to her desk, pulled up something on her computer, turned the screen toward him. Surveillance photos, dozens of them. Victoria leaving her building. Victoria at restaurants. Victoria at charity galas. All taken over the past 6 months. I was 15 when Volkov's people took me. My father was Ambassador Sterling negotiating a trade agreement that would have cost Volkov's organization billions in lost trafficking revenue. They grabbed me from my school, held me for 4 days in a basement outside the city. Her voice remained steady, but her hands gripped the desk edge. I remember the dark, the cold, listening to footsteps above my head, wondering if each time was the last time. I know. I read the file. Did the file mention that I was supposed to die? That the ransom was a lie, that Volkov planned to send my father my body piece by piece as a message? She met his eyes. Your unit stopped that. You stopped that. You carried me through 3 miles of forest while your team held off Volkov's men. You told me stories about constellations to keep me calm. You said my father loved me, and I'd see him again soon. Marcus remembered. A scared girl with blonde hair and blue eyes shaking so hard she could barely walk. He'd carried her because waiting for her to find her strength would have gotten them both killed. I was doing my job. Your job saved my life. And now Volkov wants to take everything from both of us before he kills us. Victoria pulled up another file. 6 weeks ago, someone accessed my company's personnel records. They copied files on every employee, every contractor, every vendor, including you, including your daughter's name, her school, your address. That's how they knew where to find us. That's how they knew where to find everyone. Your old unit members, your emergency contacts, everyone you've ever known. She closed the laptop. Mr. Chen Volkov isn't just seeking revenge, he's orchestrating something bigger. My intelligence suggests he's rebuilding his trafficking network using my company's logistics infrastructure. Shipping routes, warehousing facilities, transportation networks, all the things I built to create jobs and move products he's planning to use to move people. Why tell me this? Why not go to the FBI? I have gone to the FBI. I've gone to Homeland Security. I've gone to every official channel that exists. Her voice hardened. And they've all told me the same thing. Volkov served his time. He's a free man. Without proof of ongoing criminal activity, they can't touch him. The surveillance on me could be private investigators. The deaths in your unit, all ruled accidental. Even last night's attack, those men aren't talking, and without their testimony, it's just an attempted robbery gone wrong. So you want me to do what the government can't? I want you to help me protect what matters. Your daughter, my company, the hundreds of people Volkov will traffic if we don't stop him. She moved closer. I want you to be what you were trained to be. Not because I'm asking you to kill anyone, but because I need someone who understands how men like Volkov think. Someone who can anticipate, prevent, and if necessary, respond. I'm not that person anymore. I'm a father. That's all I am. You're a father who dropped 4 armed operatives in 6 seconds to protect his child. That's not all anything, Mr. Chen. That's extraordinary. She paused. I'm offering you a position. Head of Personal Security. Salary of $200,000 a year, full benefits, housing in a secure building with 24-hour protection. Your daughter gets into the best private school in the city, full scholarship with dedicated security during school hours. You can't buy me. I'm not buying you. I'm offering you what you've been killing yourself to give Lily for 7 years. Safety, stability, a future. Victoria's voice softened. I've watched you, Mr. Chen. Not because I was spying, but because I notice people who work in my building. I've seen you carrying your daughter when she falls asleep. I've seen you helping her with homework at 2 in the morning. I've seen you choosing to be invisible because you thought that was what kept her safe. But invisibility doesn't work anymore. They found you. So now you have a choice. Keep hiding and hope they don't come back, or stand with me and end this. Marcus looked through the glass at Lily. She was drawing something, her tongue poking out in concentration the way June's used to. James sat nearby, not hovering, just present. If I say yes, Volkov will escalate. He won't just send 4 men next time. And if you say no, he'll wait until you're vulnerable and take everything while you watch. You don't know that. I do know that. Because that's what he does. That's what he did to the others in your unit. He waited. He planned. He struck when they felt safest. Victoria's voice carried absolute conviction. Tommy Morrison was jogging in his neighborhood, a place he ran every morning for 5 years. He died thinking he was safe because he'd convinced himself the past was over. It wasn't over. It was just waiting. Marcus's hands clenched. What exactly would this job entail? During the day you work with my security team. Review protocols, identify vulnerabilities, train personnel. During the night you go home to Lily. You're there for dinner, for homework, for bedtime. You get to be her father without also being her janitor. And when Volkov makes his move, you do what you were trained to do. You stop him. She held his gaze. But you won't be alone. I have resources. Money, intelligence, networks, legal protection. And I have something else. I have motivation. That 15-year-old girl in the basement survived because of you. She built an empire because she refused to be helpless again. Let her help you the way you helped her. Through the glass, Lily held up her drawing to show James. It was a picture of Marcus, drawn in purple crayon, with the word hero spelled out in careful letters underneath. I need to think about it. You have 12 hours. At 7 p.m. tonight, I'm having a security briefing with my team about Volkov. If you're there, you're in. If you're not, I'll respect your decision and provide you with resources to disappear with your daughter. New identities, money, a safe location, your choice. And if I take your offer and it gets Lily hurt? Victoria's expression went hard. Then you'll never forgive yourself. But Mr. Chen, if you don't take my offer and Volkov gets to her anyway because you were too proud or too scared to accept help, you'll never forgive yourself either. At least this way you're fighting back. A phone on her desk buzzed. She glanced at it, frowned. I need to take this. It's my head of security. She answered, listened, and her face went pale. When? Where? A pause. Lock down the building. Nobody in or out without facial recognition clearance. I'll be down in 5 minutes. She hung up. There's been an incident. What kind of incident? Someone left a package at the front desk, addressed to me. The bomb squad is on the way, but preliminary scans show it's not explosive. Then what is it? Victoria's voice was barely above a whisper. According to the X-ray, it's a human heart in a preservation container, with a note attached. Marcus was already moving toward the conference room. Lily, we're leaving. Now. But I'm not finished drawing. Now, baby, bring the picture with you. James and Martin snapped to attention immediately, understanding that something had changed. They flanked Lily as Marcus scooped her up. "What's happening?" Lily's voice was small. "Just being extra careful, sweetheart." Victoria was on her phone issuing rapid orders. "All executive staff to safe rooms. Ground floor is under quarantine until bomb squad clears the package. Mr. Chen is authorized for all secure areas." Yes, I said all areas. They moved fast to a private elevator Marcus had never seen before. Victoria scanned her palm and the doors opened. "This goes directly to my residential floor, 3 levels below us, completely separate from the main building systems." The elevator descended. Lily buried her face in Marcus's shoulder. "Daddy, I'm scared." "I know, baby. Me too. But being scared is okay as long as we're smart about it." Victoria's phone rang again. She listened, and her face went from pale to ashen. "Are you certain? Check again. I want triple confirmation before—" She stopped, looked at Marcus. "The heart belongs to Thomas Morrison. They're running DNA now, but dental records match. Someone cut it out of him before they induced the heart attack." Marcus felt rage settle into his bones. Ice cold and absolute. Tommy was dead. Not just dead, desecrated. Turned into a message. "The note?" he said quietly. "What did it say?" Victoria's hand shook as she pulled up a photo on her phone. The note was simple, typed on plain paper. "You took something from me. Now I take everything from you. One piece at a time. Watch the news tonight. K." The elevator opened into a space that looked like a luxury apartment. But Marcus immediately cataloged the reinforced walls, the security monitors, the panic room door barely visible behind a bookshelf. "What's happening tonight?" he asked. "I don't know, but Volkov doesn't make empty threats." Victoria moved to the security monitors, pulled up news feeds. "He said to watch the news. That means something public, something visible." Marcus set Lily down on a couch. "Baby, I need you to stay right here with James and Martin. Don't move unless they tell you to move. Can you do that? Are the bad men coming back? I don't know, but I'm going to make sure they can't get to you. Promise." He knelt down, looked her in the eyes. "I promise." She studied his face with June's perceptiveness. "You look different. Your eyes look like they did in the pictures Mommy showed me. From before." "What pictures?" "The ones from when you were a soldier. She said you had to be hard sometimes to keep people safe, but you were always soft with us." She touched his cheek. "It's okay if you need to be hard now, Daddy. I understand." Marcus pulled her close, breathed in the scent of her hair. 8 years old, and already too wise for this world. He stood, turned to Victoria. "I need everything you have on Volkov. Last known location, known associates, financial records, properties. Everything. You're taking the job. I'm taking the fight. The job we can discuss later if we survive." Victoria allowed herself a small smile. "My office. 10 minutes. I'll have everything assembled." Martin spoke up, his voice calm and professional. "Sir, I served with your unit in Afghanistan. Operation Silver Mountain. You probably don't remember me. I was support personnel, but I remember you. Captain Chen pulled my squad out of an ambush when our radio was dead. Carried Private Henderson 2 clicks through hostile territory with a gunshot wound in your leg." He met Marcus's eyes. "Whatever you need to keep these people safe, you've got it. I owe you my life. Time to return the favor." James nodded. "I'm in too. No one threatens kids on my watch." Marcus felt something unlock in his chest. The part he'd kept buried for 7 years. The part that knew how to lead, how to strategize, how to fight. "Then here's what we're going to do." He moved to the security monitors, started pulling up building schematics. Exit routes, blind spots. His hands moved with muscle memory. "This floor becomes our command center. Lily stays here with 1 guard at all times. Victoria, you don't leave this floor without a minimum of 2-person security detail. No exceptions, no arguments. Agreed." We need to identify everyone in your organization who has access to sensitive systems, not just high-level executives. Janitors, maintenance staff, anyone who could plant surveillance devices or provide intel to Volkov. I'll have HR compile a list. No, HR can't know we're vetting their colleagues. We do this quietly. James, you're on that. Martin, I need you to review every security measure in this building. Assume Volkov has compromised something and find out what. On it. Marcus turned to Victoria. You said Volkov was rebuilding his trafficking network. What's the timeline? When does he need your infrastructure operational? She pulled up files on a tablet. According to our intelligence, there's a major event in 6 days. International Shipping Conference. Representatives from 20 countries, including several from Eastern Europe with corrupt customs officials. Perfect opportunity to establish new routes. So he needs you neutralized before then. Or controlled. If he can't kill me, he'll try to leverage me. Her jaw tightened. That's why he's targeting everyone connected to me. He's isolating me, making me desperate. Then we don't get desperate, we get strategic. Marcus studied the timeline. 6 days. That's when he'll make his major move. But tonight, he's doing something public. Something to send a message. Victoria's phone buzzed. She read the message, and her face went white. Turn on the news. Channel 7. Marcus grabbed the remote. The screen filled with breaking news coverage. A reporter stood outside a warehouse on the city's east side, police lights flashing behind her. What authorities are calling a horrific discovery. Inside this warehouse, police have found evidence of what appears to be a human trafficking operation. 17 victims, all women between the ages of 16 and 25, were discovered locked in shipping containers. 3 of the victims are American citizens reported missing over the past 8 months. While all victims are alive, sources say the conditions were... The reporter paused, listening to her earpiece. We're getting word that a manifesto was found at the scene. The author claims this is just one of dozens of similar operations running throughout the country and promises more revelations in the coming days. The manifesto is signed with the initials KV. Victoria sank into a chair. He's exposing his own operation. Why would he... To create chaos, Marcus interrupted. To flood law enforcement with cases to overwhelm the system. While they're busy investigating this warehouse, he's moving his real assets somewhere else. He turned to her. This is a diversion. A very expensive diversion. Which means whatever he's really planning is much bigger. How do you know? Because it's what I would do. Marcus's phone rang. Unknown number. He answered. Silence on the other end. Then breathing. Slow, deliberate. Finally a voice. Accented, cultured, dripping with false courtesy. Marcus Chen, the ghost who cleans floors. How delightfully ironic. Marcus's voice went flat. Volkov. You remember me. I'm touched. Tell me, how is your daughter? Such a precious child. She draws beautifully, I understand. Purple crayon. Very creative. Every muscle in Marcus's body went taut. If you touch her, you'll what? Kill me. You had that chance 12 years ago and you chose justice instead. Noble. Stupid, but noble. Volkov chuckled. I've been watching her, you know, every day for the past month. Such a routine child. School, home, your terrible apartment. She deserves better. Perhaps I should provide it. Say what you called to say and hang up before I trace this call and come find you. Trace away. I'm using a phone that belonged to Thomas Morrison. He doesn't need it anymore. Missing a rather important organ, you see. A pause. I called to offer you a choice, Marcus. You and Victoria Sterling can continue this futile resistance, and I will systematically destroy everyone you love. Or you can walk away. Take your daughter, disappear, and live. I'll even provide the resources. New identities, money, a fresh start. All I want is Victoria. No. Think carefully. Your loyalty to a woman you barely know versus your daughter's life. Seems like simple mathematics to me. I said no. Then your daughter dies. Not today, not tomorrow, but soon. When you least expect it. When you finally allowed yourself to believe she might be safe. That's when I'll take her. And I'll make sure you live long enough to know it was your pride that killed her." The line went dead. Marcus stood perfectly still. Victoria watched him with wide eyes. James and Martin had moved protectively closer to Lily. "What did he say?" Victoria asked quietly. "He offered me a deal. My daughter's safety in exchange for you." "What are you going to do?" Marcus looked at Lily coloring on the couch, oblivious to the monster who'd just threatened her life. Then he looked at Victoria, the 15-year-old girl he'd saved, who'd grown into a woman strong enough to stand against the same nightmare. "I'm going to teach Konstantin Volkov why they called me Wraith. Because ghosts don't just disappear." His voice carried the weight of 7 years of buried rage finally finding direction. "Sometimes they come back to haunt you." Victoria's security team assembled in the command center within the hour. 12 men and women, all former military or federal agents, all handpicked for their skills and discretion. Marcus stood at the head of the conference table, studying each face, reading body language, looking for the tells that separated loyal soldiers from potential traitors. "Before we begin," he said quietly, "everyone in this room needs to understand what we're facing. Konstantin Volkov isn't just a criminal. He's a strategist who's spent 12 years planning this moment. He has resources, connections, and most importantly, he has patience. That makes him more dangerous than any enemy you've encountered." A woman in her 40s, introduced as Sarah Chen, no relation, raised her hand. "Sir, with respect, half of us have combat experience in 3 different war zones. We've faced down terrorists, insurgents, and cartels. What makes Volkov different? Because all of those enemies wanted something tactical. Territory, resources, political outcomes. Volkov wants something personal. Revenge. And personal motivations don't follow logical patterns." Marcus pulled up a photo of Volkov on the screen. Gray-haired, distinguished, the kind of face that belonged in boardrooms and opera houses. "This man will sacrifice his own people, his own profits, his own freedom if it means hurting the people who wronged him. You can't negotiate with that. You can't predict it using normal threat assessment models." Martin stood. "Captain Chen is right. I've reviewed Volkov's history. Every operation he's run has a secondary objective beyond profit. He doesn't just traffic people, he targets specific victims whose disappearance will cause maximum emotional damage to their families. He doesn't just smuggle weapons, he makes sure they end up in conflicts that destabilize regions his enemies care about. Everything is personal. Everything is revenge wrapped in business." Victoria moved to the front of the room. "Which is why our approach has to be different. We're not just defending against attacks. We're removing his ability to hurt anyone ever again. Permanently." Sarah's eyes narrowed. "Ma'am, are you authorizing lethal force?" "I'm authorizing whatever force is necessary to protect innocent lives. If that can be accomplished without killing anyone, excellent. If it can't, then we do what we must, and sleep soundly knowing we stopped a monster." Victoria's voice was steel. "Volkov sent me a human heart this morning. He's holding 17 trafficking victims as props for a publicity stunt. He's threatened an 8-year-old child. I'm done playing defense." Marcus appreciated her conviction, but conviction without strategy got people killed. "Our first priority is intelligence. We need to know where Volkov is operating, from who his key people are, and what his actual plan is for the shipping conference. The warehouse raid was a diversion. What's he really doing?" James pulled up financial records on the screen. "I've been tracking shell companies connected to Volkov. In the past 6 months, he's purchased or leased 17 properties in the city. Warehouses, office buildings, even a few residential properties in upscale neighborhoods. But here's what's interesting. 12 of those properties are within a 3-mile radius of Titan Industries." "He's surrounding us," Victoria said. "More than that, he's creating a network. These properties are all connected to legitimate businesses, a freight company, a security firm, a catering service that works with high-end corporate events. James zoomed in on the map. He's not just planning to attack your building, Ms. Sterling. He's already inside your ecosystem. Marcus studied the map, his mind falling into old patterns. Assess, strategize, execute. The shipping conference. Where's it being held? The Meridian Convention Center, 2 miles from here. Who's catering it? Victoria pulled up the contract on her tablet. Her face went pale. Sterling Foods, one of our subsidiary companies. And security. Secure Point International. We vetted them thoroughly. Pull up their corporate registration. Victoria's fingers flew across the screen. The information loaded. Her breath caught. Secure Point was purchased 8 weeks ago by a holding company called Vostok Enterprises. Marcus didn't need to ask. Vostok, Russian for East. Volkov's idea of a joke. He owns the security company protecting the shipping conference, Sarah said, which means he controls access, surveillance, everything. And if something happens at that conference, Marcus continued, if people die or disappear, the investigation will focus on the security company, which will lead to the holding company, which will take months to trace back to Volkov. By then, he's moved his operation and vanished. Victoria slammed her hand on the table. So, what do we do? Cancel the conference. No. Canceling tips him off that we know. We let it proceed, but we make our own preparations. Marcus turned to the team. Sarah, I need you to compile a list of every employee at Secure Point. Cross-reference them with known associates of Volkov. James, get me building schematics for the Meridian Center. All of them, the official versions, and any renovation records that might show additions. Martin, reach out to your federal contacts quietly. No official channels. We need to know if any agencies are already investigating Volkov. And me, Victoria asked. You're going to do exactly what Volkov expects. You're going to attend that conference, give your keynote speech, play the powerful CEO who isn't afraid. Because while everyone's watching you, we're going to dismantle his operation piece by piece. You want me as bait. I want you as a distraction. There's a difference. Lily's voice cut through the tension. Daddy, I'm hungry. Marcus had almost forgotten she was there, coloring at the corner table with a female security officer watching over her. The normalcy of her request, something so simple, so innocent, made his chest ache. What do you want, baby? Mac and cheese, the kind with the cartoon characters. Victoria was already on her phone. I'll have something sent up from the executive kitchen. She doesn't eat food she doesn't recognize, Marcus said. Trust issues with new things. It's been that way since her mom died. Victoria paused, then nodded. Then I'll have the chef prepare it in front of her. She can watch the whole process. Would that work? Lily looked up from her coloring. Can I help make it? I think that can be arranged. 10 minutes later, Lily was in the executive kitchen with the chef, a grandfatherly man named Robert, who treated the task of making cartoon-shaped pasta with absolute seriousness. Victoria's security detail maintained position, but gave them space. Marcus watched through the doorway, his daughter laughing as Robert showed her how to drain the pasta properly, and felt the weight of every decision pressing down on him. Victoria stood beside him. She's remarkable, so resilient. She shouldn't have to be resilient. She's 8. She should be worried about homework and which friend to play with at recess, not whether bad men are coming. But she is resilient, because you raised her that way. Victoria's voice was quiet. When I was taken, my father fell apart. He paid the ransom, even though the FBI told him not to. He tried to negotiate, tried to control something that couldn't be controlled. And when your team brought me back, he never talked about it. Never acknowledged what happened, just sent me to therapists and tried to pretend it was over. Everyone processes trauma differently. He processed it by pretending it didn't exist, which meant I processed it alone. She turned to Marcus. But you're not doing that. You're honest with Lily. You let her be scared, but you don't let fear paralyze her. That's a gift. A gift she wouldn't need if I'd stayed invisible. You were never invisible, Marcus. You were just waiting. Men like Volkov don't forget. They don't forgive. He would have found you eventually, whether you stopped his men that night or not. She paused. At least this way, you're fighting back instead of running. Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. A photo. His blood ran cold. It was Lily's school. Empty playground. But someone had drawn a red X over the slide she loved. He's watching her school. Marcus said, his voice barely controlled. Victoria looked at the photo. That school has security cameras. We can trace... No, he wants us to trace it. He wants us chasing our tails while he moves forward. Marcus forwarded the photo to James. But we can use it. Sarah, how many properties did you say Volkov purchased near here? 17 confirmed. Pull up every building with a sightline to Lily's school. Sarah worked fast. 4 properties appeared on the map. This one. Marcus pointed to an office building 3 blocks from the school. 8th floor would give perfect angle for that photo. Send a team. Quietly. No uniforms, no official vehicles. I want to know who's in that building and what they're doing. On it. Sarah made the call. Robert emerged from the kitchen with Lily, who carried a bowl of mac and cheese like it was precious cargo. Daddy, I made it myself. Well, Robert helped, but I did the stirring and everything. It looks perfect, baby. You're a natural chef. She settled on the couch to eat, and Marcus sat beside her, his body angled so he could see all the entry points, his hand resting near his phone. Daddy, when can we go home? The question stabbed through him. Our home isn't safe right now, sweetheart. Why not? Because sometimes bad people know where good people live, and we have to stay somewhere else until the bad people go away. Will they go away? Marcus met Victoria's eyes across the room. Yes, they will. Promise. He'd already made too many promises he might not be able to keep. But Lily needed certainty more than she needed truth. I promise. She ate her mac and cheese in silence for a moment, then quietly. Mommy used to promise she'd get better, but she didn't. Marcus's throat tightened. Mommy wanted to keep that promise more than anything in the world. Sometimes things happen that we can't control, no matter how hard we try. But you can control the bad people. Yes, this I can control. Okay. She took another bite. This is really good mac and cheese. Can Robert teach me more cooking? If we're staying here for a while, I think that could be arranged. Victoria's tablet pinged. She read something, frowned, then gestured to Marcus. He stood, kissed Lily's head, and joined Victoria across the room. Martin just sent this. It's a surveillance transcript from 2 days ago. FBI was monitoring a suspected arms dealer who mentioned Volkov's name in passing. She handed him the tablet. Marcus read the transcript. His jaw tightened with each line. The arms dealer had been discussing a shipment of small arms to Eastern Europe. But he'd mentioned needing V's approval for timing, specifically referencing the conference situation and making sure the distraction was big enough. They're planning something violent at the shipping conference, Marcus said. To what end? He already controls security. He could take hostages, steal intelligence, a dozen things without gunfire. Unless the violence is the point. Unless he wants a massacre on your company's watch. Think about it. If dozens of international delegates are killed at an event your subsidiary is catering under security, your organization hired, what happens? Victoria's face drained of color. The company collapses, stock plummets, criminal investigations. I'd be destroyed. And in the chaos, while every law enforcement agency in the country is focused on you, Volkov's trafficking network operates freely. He gets revenge and profit. We have to warn people. Cancel the conference. If we cancel, he moves to Plan B, and we don't know what Plan B is. Marcus's mind raced through scenarios. We need more information. We need someone inside his operation. We don't have time to insert an agent. We don't need to insert anyone. We need to flip someone who's already inside. Sarah returned with a laptop. Team just sent photos from that office building. 8th floor was rented 2 months ago by a photography studio. But here's what's interesting. The studio only operates at night. During the day, it's empty except for one person. She pulled up surveillance photos. A man in his 30s sitting alone in the office running computer equipment. Marcus leaned closer. The equipment wasn't for photography. It was for surveillance. Multiple monitors, communication arrays, the kind of setup that cost serious money. Can we get a clearer shot of his face? Sarah enhanced the image. Marcus felt recognition click. I know him, Dmitry Kozlov. He was low-level muscle in Volkov's organization 12 years ago. Barely 18 following orders, didn't seem to have the stomach for the serious violence. You remember someone that minor from 12 years ago? I remember everyone. It's a habit that's kept me alive. Marcus studied Dmitry's face in the photo. He looked tired, older than 33 should look. When we took down Volkov's operation, Dmitry testified against him. Cut a deal. Witness protection, new identity, the whole package. So why is he back working for Volkov? Either Volkov found him and forced him back, or Dmitry never really left. Either way, he's a weak point. And weak points can be exploited. Victoria crossed her arms. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting we pay Dmitry a visit, tonight, quietly. And we convince him that helping us is better for his health than helping Volkov. That's kidnapping. That's intelligence gathering. He's conducting surveillance on a child. I'm just going to explain why that's a bad idea. Sarah looked uncertain. Sir, if we grab him and this goes wrong, Volkov will know we're onto him. Volkov already knows we're onto him. He sent me that photo to prove it. But he doesn't know how much we know, and he doesn't know we're willing to take the fight to him. Marcus turned to Victoria. I need operational authority. No committees, no approvals. If I say we move, we move. Can you give me that? Victoria didn't hesitate. You have it. Then here's what's going to happen. Sarah, James, you're with me tonight. Martin, you stay here with Lily. Victoria, you're going to attend a very public dinner at the Grandview Hotel at 8 p.m. Make sure photographers get good shots. Post on social media. Make Volkov think you're business as usual. While you're grabbing Dmitry. While I'm having a conversation with an old friend, Lily called out from the couch. Daddy, can I watch a movie? Marcus checked his watch. 4 p.m. He had 4 hours before the grab. 4 hours to spend with his daughter before he walked back into the world he'd left behind. Yeah, baby. What do you want to watch? The one with the princess who saves herself. Victoria smiled slightly. I think I have that one. She queued up the movie. Lily curled up on the couch with a blanket Robert had provided. Marcus sat beside her, his daughter's head resting against his shoulder. On screen, an animated princess faced down a dragon with nothing but courage and a clever plan. Lily watched with complete focus. Daddy, why don't the princes ever save the princesses anymore? Because princesses figured out they could save themselves. Is Victoria a princess? In a way, she built something important and now she's protecting it. Are you protecting her? I'm protecting both of you. Who protects you? The question hit harder than it should have. Marcus looked at his daughter's upturned face, her eyes so much like June's. You do, baby. Every time you smile, every time you're brave, every time you remind me what I'm fighting for. That's protection. She seemed satisfied with that answer, turned back to the movie. Marcus felt Victoria's eyes on them. When he looked up, she was standing in the doorway watching them with an expression he couldn't quite read. She mouthed 2 words. Thank you. He nodded. No words needed. The movie played. Lily laughed at the funny parts and gasped at the scary parts. For 45 minutes, they were just a father and daughter watching a movie together. Normal. Safe. Then Lily fell asleep the way she always did halfway through movies, her breathing slow and steady. Marcus carefully extracted himself, tucked the blanket around her, kissed her forehead. "I'll be back before you wake up," he whispered. "I promise." He stood. Victoria was waiting with Sarah and James by the elevator. "Robert will stay with her," Victoria said quietly. "And I've assigned 3 additional guards to this floor. No one gets in without biometric clearance." "Thank you." "Marcus." She stopped him before he could enter the elevator. "Be careful. Men like Dmitri, if they're backed into a corner, they'll do desperate things." "I'm counting on it. Desperate people make mistakes." The elevator descended. Sarah checked her weapon, a compact Glock she wore in a shoulder holster. James did the same. "Rules of engagement?" Sarah asked. "We go in quiet. No violence unless absolutely necessary. Dmitri comes back with us conscious and talking." "Clear." "Clear." They took an unmarked vehicle from the underground garage. Marcus drove, navigating through evening traffic with the kind of awareness that came from years of tactical driving. Every car was a potential threat. Every intersection was an ambush point. Sarah pulled up building schematics on a tablet. 8th floor corner office. 2 stairwells, 1 elevator. Building has night security, but they're minimum wage rent-a-cops. Shouldn't be a problem. We don't want them to be a problem. We walk in like we belong. Dimitri's expecting surveillance subjects, not visitors. That's our advantage. They parked 2 blocks away, approached on foot. The office building was typical urban architecture, glass and steel, trying to look more important than it was. The security guard in the lobby glanced up from his phone as they entered. Marcus pulled out a fake ID that identified him as building maintenance. "Got a call about water pressure issues on 8. Need to check the pipes." The guard barely looked. "Sign in." They signed fake names. The guard went back to his phone. The elevator climbed. Marcus felt his heartbeat slow, his breathing regulate. This was familiar territory. The waiting. The approach. The moment before action when everything was still possible. The elevator opened on 8. The hallway was empty. Fluorescent lights hummed. Dimitri's office was at the end, light visible under the door. Sarah and James flanked the door. Marcus knocked. Footsteps inside. Hesitation. "Who is it?" "Maintenance. Checking water pressure." "I didn't call maintenance." "Building-wide inspection. Won't take 5 minutes." Another pause. Then the lock clicked. The door opened. Dmitri stood there, older and thinner than his surveillance photo, with the nervous energy of someone who'd been running for a long time. His eyes widened when he saw Marcus's face. "Hello, Dmitri. We need to talk." Dmitri tried to slam the door. James's boot stopped it. They pushed inside, moving fast, but not violent. The office was exactly what the surveillance suggested. Monitors showing multiple feeds, including one of Lily's school playground. Communication equipment. Files stacked on a desk. Dmitri backed away, hands raised. "I don't want trouble." "Then you shouldn't have taken photos of my daughter." "I was just following orders. I wouldn't hurt a kid. You know that. You know me." "I knew you 12 years ago. You testified against Volkov. You were supposed to be in witness protection. So why are you back working for him?" Dimitri's face crumpled. He looked like he might cry. "Because he found me, 3 months ago. He walked into my apartment in Phoenix like he'd been invited. Knew my new name, my job, everything. Said I could work for him again or watch my sister die." "You don't have a sister." "I do now. She's 17. Lives in Boston. Goes to a good school, has friends, a normal life. Volkov showed me photos of her walking home from school, getting coffee, sitting in class. He said one word from him, and she disappears into the network. Sold to the highest bidder." Marcus felt the pieces clicking together. He's using leverage. On you, on others. How many people in his organization are being blackmailed? Most of us. The ones who aren't true believers anyway. He finds what you love, and he threatens it until you comply. Which means his operation is built on fear, not loyalty. That's a weakness. Dmitri laughed bitterly. "You think that matters? Fear works. Fear keeps us in line. Sarah was photographing the monitors documenting everything. James was copying files from Dimitri's computer. Marcus pulled up a chair, sat across from Dimitri, kept his voice level. I'm going to make you an offer. You help us stop Volkov, and I'll make sure your sister is safe. Real protection, not witness protection. The kind that actually works. You can't promise that. Yes, I can. Because unlike the government, I don't have bureaucracy slowing me down. I have resources, connections, and motivation. Volkov threatened my daughter. That makes this personal, and I'm very good at personal. Dimitri studied Marcus's face. You're different than before. Harder. Fatherhood will do that to you. Makes you understand what's worth protecting and what you're willing to do to protect it. Marcus leaned forward. Tell me about the shipping conference. What's Volkov really planning? I don't know everything. He compartmentalizes. But I know it's not just about revenge on Sterling. It's bigger. How much bigger? Dimitri swallowed hard. He's trafficking people hidden inside legitimate shipping containers. The conference is when he finalizes routes with corrupt officials from 12 countries. Once those routes are established, he can move thousands of people annually. Victims, but also operatives. He's not just rebuilding his old network. He's creating something new, something global. Marcus felt ice in his veins. And the violence, the arms dealer mentioned a distraction. There's a team, 8 men, former military. They're going to hit the conference during the keynote speech, take hostages, make demands. The goal is chaos. While security is dealing with them, Volkov's people extract specific targets from the conference. Government officials who won't cooperate. Competitors. Anyone who's a threat. Extract them where? I don't know, somewhere outside the city. I swear I don't know. James looked up from the computer. Sir, I've got something. Flight manifests. Private airfield 50 miles north of here. Multiple flights scheduled for the night of the conference. Destinations in Eastern Europe, South America, Southeast Asia. That's his exit strategy, Sarah said. He moves the targets, then vanishes before anyone realizes what happened. Marcus stood. Dimitri, you're coming with us. You're going to tell Victoria Sterling everything you know, every detail, every name, every property. And then we're going to dismantle this operation piece by piece. And my sister. I'll have her in protective custody within the hour. She'll be safe. You have my word. Dimitri's eyes filled with tears. Why should I trust you? Because 12 years ago, when I could have killed you during the raid, I didn't. I saw a scared kid following orders, and I gave you a chance. I'm giving you another chance now. Don't waste it. Dimitri nodded slowly. Okay, I'll help you. They collected the files, wiped the surveillance feeds, and escorted Dimitri to the elevator. The lobby guard didn't look up as they left. In the car, Marcus called Victoria. We have Dimitri. He's cooperating, and we have a problem bigger than we thought. How much bigger? Global trafficking network with government corruption in 12 countries bigger. I'm bringing him to you now. Clear the command center. This is going to take hours. Understood. Marcus hung up, then dialed another number. One he hadn't called in 7 years. A voice answered on the second ring. Gravel and whiskey. This is a ghost number. Who the hell is this? It's Chen. I need a favor, Frank. A big one. Silence. Then, Marcus, Jesus Christ, we thought you were dead. I was. Now I'm not. I need you to locate a 17-year-old girl in Boston and put her in protective custody. Tonight. No official channels. No paperwork. Can you do that? For you. Yeah, I can do that. What's going on? Same thing that got Tommy Morrison killed. Volkov's back. Another pause. I heard about Tommy. Didn't know it was Volkov. It was. And he's going after everyone. I need you to reach out to anyone left from the old unit. Tell them to go dark. Maximum security protocols. Don't trust official protection. Volkov has people inside agencies. Copy that. I'll make the calls. Marcus, it's good to hear your voice, even if the circumstances suck. Good to hear yours too, Frank. Stay safe. You too, brother. Marcus hung up. Looked at Dmitri in the rearview mirror. The man was shaking, but his jaw was set. Thank you, Dmitri said quietly, for believing me. Thank me by helping us stop him. That's all the thanks I need. They drove back to Titan Industries Tower in silence. Marcus's mind was already 3 steps ahead, planning, strategizing, preparing for the fight that was coming. Somewhere in the city, Volkov was planning too. Confident, arrogant, certain he held all the cards. He was wrong. Marcus Chen had spent 7 years learning to be a father. But before that, he'd spent 15 years learning to be a ghost. And ghosts knew how to haunt. Victoria's command center had transformed into a war room by the time they returned. Maps covered every wall. Surveillance feeds ran on multiple screens. The security team had grown to 18 people, all trusted, all vetted personally by Martin, after 3 hours of background checks that went deeper than any official clearance. Lily was still asleep on the couch, Robert sitting nearby with a book, looking more like a grandfather than a Michelin-trained chef. Marcus checked on her first, adjusted her blanket, felt her forehead to make sure she wasn't running a fever from stress. Normal temperature, steady breathing. His daughter could sleep through anything, a trait she'd inherited from June. She woke up once, Robert said softly. Asked where you were. I told her you were working, but you'd be back soon. She said, Daddy always comes back, and went right back to sleep. Marcus's chest tightened. Thank you for watching her. It's an honor, sir. I had a daughter once. Lost her to cancer when she was 12. Being around Lily, it reminds me of the good days. I'm sorry for your loss. And I'm sorry for yours. Your wife, I mean. Ms. Sterling told me. It's a hard thing raising a child alone. Hardest thing I've ever done. And I've done some hard things. Robert smiled. But you're doing it right. That little girl knows she's loved. That's everything. Marcus wanted to believe that. Wanted to believe love was armor enough to protect Lily from what was coming. But he'd seen too much of the world to trust in love alone. Dmitri sat at the conference table flanked by Sarah and James. Victoria stood at the head, arms crossed, studying the man who'd been surveilling her company for months. Start talking, she said without preamble. Everything. Names, locations, timelines. I want to know every piece of Volkov's operation. Dmitri looked at Marcus, who nodded. Okay, I'll tell you everything. He pulled out a small notebook from his jacket. I kept records. Insurance in case Volkov decided I was disposable. There are 43 people working directly for him in this city, another 100 across the country. Most are like me, blackmailed, coerced. Some are true believers who think Volkov's building some kind of empire. Give me the true believers first, Marcus said. They're the dangerous ones. Dmitri flipped pages. Viktor Sokolov, head of tactical operations, former Spetsnaz. He's the one coordinating the conference attack. Believes in Volkov like a religion. Then there's Natasha Volkov, Konstantin's niece. She runs the financial side, legitimizes the money through dozens of businesses. Victoria's tablet lit up. I know that name. Natasha Volkov is on the board of directors for the International Shipping Association. She's one of the conference organizers. That's how they've had access to everything, Martin said. Security protocols, attendee lists, building layouts. She's been feeding them information for months. Can we remove her? Victoria asked. Not without tipping off Volkov. She's too visible, but we can use her. Marcus turned to Dmitri. Does she communicate with her uncle directly? Every day. Encrypted calls at 7 p.m. Never misses it. Marcus checked his watch. 6:45. Can you intercept those calls? I can listen. I have the decryption keys. Volkov insisted all his people use the same protocol. Easier for him to monitor us. Which means it's easier for us to monitor him. James set up Dmitri with whatever equipment he needs. I want to hear that 7 o'clock call. Victoria moved closer to Marcus, lowered her voice. Even if we know what Volkov's planning, how do we stop it? We can't cancel the conference without proof, and we can't go to law enforcement without risking leaks. We don't stop the conference. We let it happen, but we control what happens. That's insane. People could die. People will definitely die if we don't act. Volkov's trafficking network will be operational. Thousands of victims over the next year alone. We have one chance to end this permanently, and it's during that conference when all his people are in one place committed to a plan they think is perfect. Victoria's jaw set. You want to turn his own operation against him? Exactly. We let them think everything's going according to plan. Then we spring the trap. Sarah spoke up from across the room. Sir, I've been running scenarios. Even if we compromise Volkov's tactical team, he'll have contingencies, backups, escape routes. Then we close every route, every backup, every contingency. Marcus moved to the map wall. Dmitri, show me every property Volkov owns or controls in the city. Dmitri spent the next 20 minutes marking locations. By the end, red pins covered the map like a disease spreading through the city's grid. He's built an infrastructure, Victoria breathed. This isn't just about the conference. He's planning to stay, to operate permanently. Which means he's vulnerable. Infrastructure can be seized, properties can be raided, money can be frozen. Marcus turned to Victoria. How fast can your legal team move? On what grounds? Corporate fraud. Natasha Volkov is on your board. That gives you standing to investigate. File injunctions. Freeze assets pending investigation. Make it messy. Make it public. That could take days. We have 4 days until the conference. We don't need to win the legal battles. We just need to create chaos in his organization. Make him reactive instead of proactive. Martin nodded slowly. Divide his attention. Force him to defend his assets instead of focusing on the attack. It's smart, but it's also risky. If he realizes what we're doing, he might accelerate his timeline. He won't, because we're going to feed him exactly what he expects to see. Marcus looked at Dmitri. You're going to continue your surveillance. Send your regular reports. Everything normal. But you're going to add small details. False information that makes Volkov think his plan is working even better than expected. What kind of false information? Tell him Victoria is distracted by the legal challenges. Tell him she's fighting with her board considering stepping down as CEO. Make him think the pressure is working, that he's already won. Dmitri's hands shook as he wrote notes. He'll know if I'm lying. He always knows. You're not lying. You're reporting what you observe, and we're going to make sure what you observe matches what we want Volkov to believe. Marcus turned to Victoria. Tomorrow morning you're going to call an emergency board meeting. You're going to look stressed, uncertain. Play up the corporate angle. Let people see you struggling. I don't like looking weak. You won't be weak. You'll be acting. There's a difference. Marcus's voice softened. I know it goes against every instinct you have, but sometimes the best way to win is to let your enemy think he's winning right up until the moment you destroy him. Victoria held his gaze for a long moment, then nodded. Okay, I trust you. Those 3 words carried more weight than she probably intended. Trust wasn't something either of them gave easily. The tablet on the table chimed. 6:58. Call's coming in 2 minutes, James said. Dmitri, you're up. Dmitri put on headphones, his fingers flying across a keyboard. Lines of code scrolled on the monitor. Then a connection established. The room fell silent. A woman's voice came through the speakers. Cultured cold. Uncle, everything is proceeding as planned. The conference committee has approved all security protocols. Our people are in position. Volkov's voice followed. Warm, almost fatherly. It made Marcus's skin crawl. Excellent work, Natasha. And Sterling. Distracted. The warehouse raid created exactly the PR nightmare we wanted. Her board is questioning her judgment. There's talk of forcing her out. Good. A wounded animal makes mistakes. What about Chen? Marcus's entire body went still. No movement. Our surveillance shows he's keeping his daughter at Sterling's building. Predictable. He thinks corporate security will protect them. Foolish. Sentiment makes even the best operators sloppy. A pause. Victor is ready for the conference. He's confirmed. 8-man team. They'll take the delegates hostage during Sterling's keynote. While security responds to the hostage situation, our extraction team moves the targets to the airfield. Simple, clean, effective. Nothing is ever simple. Tell Victor I want triple redundancy. If one team is compromised, 2 others should still complete the objective. Understood. Uncle, there's something else. Chen has been quiet for 7 years. What if he's more dangerous than we anticipated? Then we'll deal with him after the conference. Once our network is operational, he becomes irrelevant. A has-been janitor with delusions of heroism. Volkov's voice hardened. But if he interferes, kill him, and make sure his daughter watches. Marcus's hands clenched into fists. Sarah put a hand on his shoulder, a silent reminder to stay calm. The call continued for another 5 minutes. Logistics, timing, details about which government officials were already compromised and which needed to be coerced. By the time it ended, Marcus had a complete picture of Volkov's operation. Dmitri removed the headphones, his face pale. That's everything. That's the plan. Not anymore, Marcus said quietly. Now it's a trap waiting to be sprung. Victoria was already on her phone messaging her legal team. I'm filing the injunctions tonight. By morning, Volkov's financial network will be frozen. At least the parts we can prove connect to my company. How much of his operation does that compromise? Maybe 30%. Enough to hurt, not enough to stop him. It doesn't need to stop him, it just needs to make him commit. Marcus moved to the map. James, I need you to coordinate with federal law enforcement. Off the books. Tell them there's a credible threat to the shipping conference, but don't give them specifics. Get them to increase security presence around the Meridian Center. That'll spook Volkov. Good. I want him spooked. I want him second-guessing. But not enough to call it off. Just enough to make him move more of his people into position to compensate. Sarah frowned. You're hurting him, forcing him to commit more resources to a plan we know about. Exactly. The more he commits, the more we can dismantle when we spring the trap. Martin, I need detailed building plans for the Meridian Center. Not the official ones. I need electrical systems, ventilation, access tunnels. Everything. I can have those in an hour. Do it. Sarah, reach out to your contacts in private security. We need additional personnel, people we trust. At least 30 more. That's a small army. Volkov's bringing an army. We need to match it. Marcus turned back to the map. Dmitri, you said Viktor Sokolov is running tactical operations. Where's he based? Dmitri pointed to a location on the map. An industrial complex near the waterfront. There. Old meatpacking plant. Volkov bought it through a shell company 6 months ago. How many people? Victor keeps a core team of 12 there. They train, plan operations. It's like a military barracks. Security. Heavy. Cameras, motion sensors, armed guards rotating shifts. They're paranoid. Marcus studied the location. Good. Paranoid people make predictable decisions. They defend when they should attack. They fortify when they should disperse. Victoria looked at him sharply. You're thinking about hitting that location. Not thinking. Planning. The night before the conference, we take out Victor's team. Without tactical leadership, Volkov's whole operation falls apart. That's incredibly risky. Everything about this is risky. But if we wait for the conference, we're fighting on his ground, his terms. This way, we choose the battlefield. Robert cleared his throat from across the room. Excuse me, sirs, ma'am, but the little one is stirring. I think she might wake soon. Marcus immediately shifted focus. The war room fell away. His daughter was waking up. He crossed to the couch, Lily's eyes fluttered open, confused about where she was. Then she saw Marcus and relaxed. "Daddy, you came back." "I told you I would. I had a dream. We were at the park. You and me and Mommy. She was pushing me on the swings." Marcus's throat tightened. "That sounds like a good dream." "It was. She said to tell you she's proud of you. That you're doing good." Lily sat up, rubbing her eyes. "Do you think she can really see us from heaven?" "I think if love can reach across any distance, it can reach across that one." "Then she knows you're keeping me safe." "Yeah, baby, she knows." Victoria approached, her expression soft. "Lily, I was thinking, you've been cooped up in this office all day. Would you like to see something special?" Lily perked up. "What kind of special?" "I have a garden. On the roof. It's private, completely secure. There are lights that make it look like stars. And right now there should be fireflies. Real fireflies. Real ones. I had them brought in special. The garden is their perfect habitat." Lily looked at Marcus with hopeful eyes. "Can I, Daddy, please?" Every instinct screamed no, screamed to keep her inside, protected, locked down. But he looked at her face, saw the child who needed moments of wonder even in the middle of nightmare. "How secure is this roof garden?" he asked Victoria. "Biometric access only. 3 levels of security before you even reach the elevator. And I'll have 4 guards posted at the entrance. Nothing gets through." "I want to see it first." "Of course." They took a private elevator to the roof. The security was everything Victoria promised. Cameras covering every angle, guards who moved like professionals, and the garden itself was enclosed in reinforced glass, creating a greenhouse effect. Inside it was beautiful, real grass, flowering plants, trees that shouldn't survive this high up, but somehow did. And everywhere fireflies blinked their gentle light. "It's like magic," Lily whispered. "It's science," Victoria corrected gently. "But science that looks like magic, the best kind." Marcus checked every sightline, every access point, every possible threat vector. Finally, he nodded. "Okay, baby, you can play here for a little while, but stay where I can see you." Lily didn't need to be told twice. She ran into the garden laughing as fireflies danced around her. Robert followed at a discreet distance, letting her explore but staying close. Marcus and Victoria stood at the entrance watching. "She's remarkable," Victoria said quietly. "So full of joy despite everything. Kids are resilient. They bounce back from things that would break adults. Or they learn to hide the breaks so adults don't worry." Victoria's voice carried old pain. "After I was rescued, I smiled for my father. Told him I was fine. Went back to school like nothing happened. But inside I was terrified every second. It took me years to admit I needed help." Lily's in therapy, twice a week since June died. She talks about her feelings. I made sure of that. "You're a good father." "I'm a scared father who's doing his best. There's a difference." They watched Lily chase fireflies, her laughter carrying across the garden. "Marcus, after this is over, after Volkov is dealt with, what happens to you and Lily? I don't know. I haven't let myself think past survival." "Maybe you should, because Lily deserves more than just survival. She deserves a life, and so do you." "Are you offering me that job again?" "I'm offering you a future. The job is just part of it." Victoria turned to face him. "I spent 20 years being alone because I was afraid to trust anyone. Afraid they'd see the scared 15-year-old instead of the powerful CEO. But you've already seen both. And you're still here. I'm here for Lily. Are you? Or are you here because some part of you recognizes that we're the same? Both of us built walls. Both of us thought isolation was safety. But maybe safety is actually standing with someone who understands." Marcus didn't know how to respond to that. Didn't know if he was ready to admit she might be right. Lily ran back to them, cupping her hands carefully. "Daddy, look, I caught one." She opened her hands slightly, A firefly crawled across her palm, blinking its light. "That's beautiful, baby. But remember, we have to let it go. It needs to be free." "I know. I just wanted to see it up close first." She opened her hands fully. The firefly hesitated, then flew away. "There. Now it can find its family." "That's my girl." Lily tugged on his sleeve. "Daddy, can we come back here after the bad people are gone?" "Yeah, sweetheart. We can come back." "Promise." He knelt down to her level. "I promise, and I keep my promises." She hugged him tight. "I know. You're the best promise keeper in the whole world." They stayed in the garden for another 20 minutes. Lily's laughter, mixing with the night air fireflies, dancing their ancient rhythm, and for just a moment, the war waiting below seemed very far away. But it wasn't far away. It was coming. In 4 days, everything would converge at the shipping conference. Volkov would make his move, and Marcus would be ready. They returned to the command center. Lily settled back on the couch with Robert, who started teaching her a card game June used to play. Martin had the building schematics pulled up. "I found something interesting. The Meridian Center has a service tunnel that connects to the subway system. It's not on any official plans, but renovation records from 15 years ago show it was built for emergency evacuation." "Which means it's an infiltration point," Marcus said. "Or an escape route. If Volkov's extraction team grabs their targets during the conference, this tunnel would let them bypass street-level security completely." "Then that's where we set our ambush. Sarah, I need a team in that tunnel. Night of the conference, full tactical gear. Nobody gets through." "What about the hostage team Victor's 8 men?" "We deal with them before they ever reach the conference center." Marcus turned to Dmitri. "You said Victor trains his team at the meatpacking plant. Do they have a schedule?" "Every morning, 6 a.m. Physical training, then tactical drills, like clockwork." "Predictable, which means exploitable." Marcus checked the time. Nearly midnight. "We hit them tomorrow morning, during their training run, when they're exposed." Victoria's eyes went wide. "You're talking about an assault on a fortified location in the middle of the city." "I'm talking about neutralizing a threat before it becomes active. Victor's team is the linchpin. Without them, Volkov has to either abort or scramble for replacements. Either way, we gain advantage. And if it goes wrong, then we adapt. But doing nothing guarantees Volkov succeeds. I'd rather fail trying than succeed at waiting." James pulled up surveillance footage of the meatpacking plant. "If we're doing this, we need to plan it properly. Full tactical approach, insertion, execution, extraction." "Agreed. Everyone get some rest. We brief at 4 a.m. Wheels up at 5:30. Marcus looked at his team. "This is voluntary. Anyone who wants out, speak now. No judgment." Nobody spoke. Sarah stood. "With respect, sir, we're not doing this because you asked. We're doing this because it's right. Volkov is a monster. Someone needs to stop him." Martin nodded. "And we'd rather it be us than leave it to chance." Marcus felt something shift in his chest. He'd been alone for so long, carrying everything himself. Having people stand with him felt foreign and familiar at the same time. "Thank you, all of you." Victoria touched his arm. "I'm coming tomorrow." "No, you're staying here with Lily." "It's my company he's attacking. My conference he's targeting. I should be there." "You should be keeping my daughter safe. That's more important than anything else." They stared at each other. Victoria's jaw set in that stubborn way that probably terrorized her boardroom. "Fine. But Marcus, you come back. Lily needs you. And—" She stopped, started again. "I need you to come back too." He didn't know what to say to that. Didn't know if he could promise something that might be out of his control. "I'll do my best." "That's not enough." "It's all I have." She held his gaze for another moment, then nodded. "Then I'll accept it. But I'm holding you to that promise you made Lily, about coming back to the garden." "I remember." The team dispersed to prepare. Marcus sat beside Lily, watching her sleep again. Robert had covered her with a blanket, placed her stuffed rabbit under her arm. His daughter, his entire world. He thought about June, about the promise he'd made her to give Lily a normal life. He'd tried. God knows he'd tried. But normal was gone. And maybe Victoria was right. Maybe instead of chasing normal, he should focus on giving Lily something better, something safe, something real. First, though, he had to make sure she had a future to grow into. Marcus pulled out his phone, texted Frank. Extraction tomorrow, 6 a.m. If I don't check in by noon, get Lily out. New identity. Everything. Frank's response came immediately. You're not dying tomorrow, Chen. I won't allow it. Not planning on it. But plans change. Then change them back. Your daughter needs her father. Marcus looked at Lily sleeping peacefully. I know. That's why I'm doing this. He set the phone aside, closed his eyes, tried to find the place inside himself where fear lived so he could lock it away. Tomorrow he'd walk back into the war he'd left behind. Tomorrow he'd be Wraith again. But tonight, he was just Lily's father. And that was enough. Marcus woke at 3:30 without an alarm. Muscle memory from 15 years of pre-dawn operations. He showered quickly, dressed in dark tactical clothing that Victoria's team had provided, and checked his equipment with the methodical precision of someone who knew that overlooked details got people killed. Lily was still asleep. He knelt beside the couch, watched her breathe, memorized her face in case this was the last time. Don't think like that, Victoria said quietly from the doorway. She'd been awake too, wearing workout clothes, her hair pulled back. You're coming back. You don't know that. Yes, I do. Because you promised Lily. And you don't break promises to your daughter. Marcus stood. If something goes wrong, nothing will go wrong. If it does, you get her out. Frank has the protocols. New identity, new city, everything she needs to disappear. Marcus, promise me, please. Victoria's eyes glistened. I promise. But you're going to make me look foolish for agreeing because you're going to walk back through that door in 4 hours. He wanted to believe her. Wanted to believe that wanting something badly enough made it true. The team assembled at 4 a.m. 12 people total counting Marcus. All former military or federal agents. All armed. All understanding that what they were about to do existed in the gray space between legal and necessary. Sarah ran the briefing. Victor's team runs the same route every morning. 5 miles through the industrial district, starting at the meat packing plant, circling through 3 abandoned warehouses, then back. They run in formation, 2 columns of 4, armed with sidearms but not expecting contact. How do you know they're not expecting contact? Martin asked. Because they've done this same run every morning for 6 months, Dmitri confirmed. They've gotten comfortable. Routine makes people sloppy. Marcus studied the route map. We set up here at the second warehouse. It's the most isolated point, no street cameras, no witnesses. We move fast, we move quiet, and we're gone before anyone knows we were there. James looked uncomfortable. Sir, just to clarify, what's the objective? Capture or eliminate? Capture if possible. These men might have information, but if they resist, we end the threat. I won't risk our people for the sake of Volkov's soldiers. The room was quiet for a moment, everyone understanding what had just been authorized. Any questions? No one spoke. Then let's move. They took 3 vehicles, unmarked SUVs with armor plating and communications equipment. Marcus rode with Sarah and James. The city was still dark, streets empty except for delivery trucks and the occasional taxi. You okay, sir? Sarah asked. Why wouldn't I be? Because you haven't done this in 7 years, and you're about to walk into a situation that could go sideways fast. Marcus checked his weapon, a Glock 19. Familiar weight muscle memory taking over. I'm fine. You don't look fine. You look like a man trying to convince himself of something. Then I'm like every other operator before a mission. They reached the warehouse district at 5:15. The team dispersed, taking positions in the shadows. Marcus moved to the high ground, a catwalk inside the abandoned warehouse that gave him clear sightlines on the approach route. The wait was the hardest part. Always had been. The minutes stretching out imagination, conjuring every possible disaster. His phone buzzed. A text from Victoria. Lily just woke up. Asked where you were. I told her you were working to keep us safe. She said, Daddy's good at that, and went back to sleep. Marcus typed back. I'll be home soon. You better be. At 5:53, Sarah's voice came through the comms. Eyes on target. 8 men running formation 200 meters out. Marcus raised his weapon, sighted through the scope. Victor's team came into view, exactly as described. 2 columns running at pace, confident in their routine. Stand by, Marcus said into his mic. Let them enter the kill zone. The team ran past the first checkpoint. 50 meters. 30 meters. Now! 12 flashlights blazed simultaneously, blinding the runners. Victor's men stumbled, hands reaching for weapons. Federal agents, get on the ground now! It was a lie, but a convincing one. Most of the men dropped, immediately trained to respond to authority. But not Victor. He rolled left, came up with a pistol, fired twice. James took a round in the vest. Went down hard, but alive. Marcus didn't hesitate. 2 shots. Center mass. Victor dropped. The other men froze suddenly, realizing this wasn't an arrest. Weapons down, hands behind your heads. Last chance. 6 men complied. The 7th ran. Sarah chased him down, tackled him in 15 feet. Zip-tied his wrists with practiced efficiency. 3 minutes. 8 men neutralized, 1 dead, 0 friendly casualties beyond James's bruised ribs. Marcus descended from the catwalk. Walked to where Victor lay bleeding out. The man's eyes were still conscious, still defiant. Tell Volkov. Victor gasped. This changes nothing. He'll still win. No, Marcus said quietly. He won't. Because the difference between you and me is that I'm fighting for something worth dying for. You're just dying. Victor's eyes went flat. The light left them. Marcus felt nothing. No satisfaction, no regret. Just the cold certainty that one threat had been eliminated. They loaded the 7 prisoners into the vehicles. Sarah stayed behind with a cleanup crew to handle Victor's body and sanitize the scene. By 7 a.m., Marcus was back at Titan Industries Tower. The prisoners were secured in a sub-basement level that officially didn't exist, being interrogated by specialists Victoria had brought in from her intelligence contacts. Lily was awake, eating breakfast with Robert. She saw Marcus and ran to him. Daddy, you're back. He caught her, held her tight, felt the adrenaline finally starting to fade. Told you I would be. You smell different, like outside and smoke. I had to work in a dusty building. I'll shower. Victoria appeared, relief naked on her face. Everyone okay? James took a round in the vest. Bruised ribs. Everyone else is fine. Victor's dead. The others are talking. What are they saying? That the conference attack was just one part. Volkov has 3 teams operating independently. If one fails, the others continue. We got the tactical team, but there's still an extraction team and a cleanup team. Where are they? That's what we're finding out. Marcus showered, changed into clean clothes, and returned to the command center. The interrogations had yielded results. 2 of Victor's men had broken, providing locations and timelines. Martin had updated the map. Extraction team is based here in a hotel near the convention center. 12 men posing as conference security. They have access badges, uniforms, everything. The plan was to use the hostage situation as cover to grab specific targets and move them through the service tunnel. And the cleanup team. That's the concerning part. They're not here for the conference. They're here for after. Once Volkov's network is operational, the cleanup team's job is to eliminate anyone who might talk. Witnesses, former associates, anyone who's a liability. Including us, Victoria said. Especially you, and Lily, Dmitri, anyone who knows too much. Marcus felt ice in his veins. Where are they? We don't know. The prisoners don't have that information. Volkov compartmentalized. Only he and Natasha know where the cleanup team is positioned. Then we get Natasha. Victoria shook her head. She's too visible. She's at the conference center right now doing final preparations. Grabbing her would expose everything. Then we don't grab her. We turn her. Marcus pulled out his phone, called Dmitri, who was in a separate room monitoring communications. I need you to send Natasha a message. Make it look like it's from Volkov. Tell her Victor's team has been compromised, and she needs to activate contingency protocol. What's contingency protocol? I don't know, but she will, and whatever she does will tell us what we need to know. 10 minutes later, Dmitri reported back. She responded. She's moving the extraction team to secondary position and recalling the cleanup team to headquarters. Where's headquarters? The meat packing plant. She thinks it's still secure. Marcus smiled coldly. It's not. How long until the cleanup team arrives? 2 hours. Perfect. Martin, get me 20 more operators. Full tactical gear. We're going to be waiting when they show up. The next 2 hours were a blur of preparation. Victoria's legal team filed emergency injunctions, freezing every asset connected to Natasha Volkov. The news media picked up the story, running with headlines about corporate corruption and international trafficking. By noon, Volkov's financial network was in chaos, and the cleanup team walked straight into Marcus's trap. 15 men arrived at the meat packing plant expecting to find Victor and his team. Instead, they found 30 operators with automatic weapons and no patience. The firefight lasted 90 seconds. When it was over, 12 of Volkov's men were in custody, 3 were dead, and 0 of Marcus's people had been hit. But Volkov himself remained at large. He's gone to ground, Martin said, reviewing surveillance feeds. Natasha hasn't heard from him in 3 hours. His phone is off. His known properties are empty. He's running, Victoria said. No. Marcus studied the map, thinking like a man who'd spent 12 years planning revenge. He's not running. He's repositioning. The conference is tomorrow. He still thinks he can win. How we've dismantled his entire operation. Not all of it. We stopped his tactical teams, but his trafficking network is still there. The corrupt officials, the shipping routes, the infrastructure. If he can get even one shipment through tomorrow, he proves the network works. And that's enough to rebuild. Sarah entered the room. Sir, we got something from Natasha's phone. She sent a text to an unknown number. Just 3 words. Conference is compromised. Trace that number. Already did. Burner phone last ping near the waterfront. But there's more. The same phone made a call to a private airfield 30 minutes ago. A plane is being fueled for immediate departure. Destination Moldova. Marcus felt all the pieces clicking together. He's at the waterfront, near his escape route. Close enough to flee if everything falls apart, but still positioned to salvage the operation if he can. There are 3 miles of waterfront. Dozens of warehouses, shipping facilities, private docks. Narrow it down. Which properties did Volkov purchase in that area? Dmitri pulled up records. 2. A shipping office that fronts for his logistics network and a private dock with warehouse attached. The dock. That's where he'd position himself. Direct water access, vehicle access, and privacy. Marcus turned to his team. We end this tonight. Full assault. I want every approach covered, every exit blocked. Victoria grabbed his arm. Let me call the FBI. This is their job. By the time the FBI mobilizes, Volkov will be gone. We do this now. Then I'm coming with you. No. It's not a request. He destroyed my company, threatened my life, endangered a child. I've earned the right to see this through. They stared at each other. Marcus saw the same stubborn determination that had built an empire. He couldn't argue with that. Fine, but you stay behind cover. You don't engage. You're there as a witness, nothing more. Agreed. They moved at dusk. 4 vehicles, 32 operators converging on the waterfront from different directions. Marcus rode with Victoria in the lead vehicle, watching the industrial landscape slide past. Are you scared? Victoria asked. Terrified. You? Same, but also relieved. This ends tonight one way or another. What will you do after when it's over? Rebuild what he tried to destroy. Strengthen what he exposed as weak. And maybe if you're willing, figure out what normal looks like. She looked at him. What about you? I'm going to take Lily to that garden. Watch her chase fireflies. Be her father without looking over my shoulder every second. That sounds like a good life. It sounds like everything. They reached the waterfront. The dock was exactly as expected. A warehouse with a single office-attached boat, slips extending into dark water security lights, creating pools of illumination. And Volkov's car parked outside. He's here, Martin confirmed through comms. Thermal imaging shows 3 heat signatures inside, Volkov and 2 guards. Block all exits, Marcus ordered. Nobody gets out. The team moved into position. Marcus approached the warehouse door with Sarah and James flanking him. Konstantin Volkov, Marcus called out. It's over. Your teams are gone. Your money is frozen. Your network is compromised. Walk out now and you might live to see trial. Silence. Then Volkov's voice, calm and amused, through a speaker mounted above the door. Marcus Chen. The ghost who became a janitor. I must admit I underestimated you. I thought 7 years of cleaning floors would have dulled your edge. Clearly I was wrong. Come out. Now. Why would I do that? I still have options. A boat fueled and ready. Money and accounts you haven't found. Associates who remain loyal. I simply need to reach that boat and I disappear. You'll never find me. You'll never reach that boat. I have 32 operators surrounding this building. Snipers on every approach. There is no escape. There's always escape if you're willing to pay the price. A pause. Tell me, how is your daughter still chasing fireflies? Marcus's blood ran cold. If you touch her. I'm not going to touch her. I'm going to make you a deal. You let me walk to that boat and I guarantee she lives a long, happy life. You try to stop me and my cleanup team, the one you didn't find visits Titan Industries Tower. They're already in position. One phone call from me and your daughter dies while you listen. Marcus's mind raced. Bluff or truth? Did Volkov really have another team, or was this desperation Victoria's voice in his earpiece? Marcus, it's a bluff. We swept the building. There's no one here but us and Lily. But what if she was wrong? What if Volkov had one more card to play? Let me talk to my daughter, Marcus said. Let me confirm she's safe. Then we'll discuss terms. No terms. Just a simple transaction. My freedom for her life. You have 10 seconds to decide. Marcus looked at Sarah and James. Saw the question in their eyes. What do we do? Then his phone rang. Not his tactical phone. His personal phone. Lily's number. His hands shook as he answered. Baby? Daddy, a man came to the garden, but Robert stopped him. The man's sleeping now. Did Robert do good? Relief flooded through Marcus so intensely he almost dropped the phone. Robert did very good, sweetheart. Are you okay? I'm okay. A little scared. But Victoria's here and she says you're coming home soon. Very soon, baby. I promise. Can you put Victoria on? Okay. Love you, Daddy. Love you too, sweetheart. More than anything. Victoria's voice came through. Robert has special forces training I didn't mention. Former Delta. He took down the intruder with a rolling pin. Lily thought it was funny. Marcus almost laughed. Almost. Keep her safe. Always. He hung up, looked at the warehouse door, and felt the fear transform into something much colder. Volkov, he called out. Your cleanup team is in custody. My daughter is safe. You have nothing left to bargain with. Last chance. Walk out now. Silence stretched for 10 seconds. 20. Then the warehouse exploded. Not the whole building, just the office section. A fireball erupting through the roof debris raining down. Marcus hit the ground, covering his head. When he looked up, the warehouse was engulfed in flames. Did he just... Sarah started. Suicide, Martin confirmed through comms. Thermal signatures are gone. He's dead. Marcus stood slowly watching the building burn. All that planning, all that revenge, ending in a final act of spite. Search the perimeter, he ordered. Make sure there's no escape tunnel, no backup plan. I want confirmation. The search took an hour. They found no tunnels, no escape routes. Volkov's body was eventually recovered from the wreckage, burned beyond recognition, but identifiable through dental records. Konstantin Volkov was dead. His network was dismantled. His people were in custody or dead. It was over. Marcus sat on the hood of the vehicle watching firefighters work. Victoria sat beside him. "How do you feel?" she asked. "Empty. I thought I'd feel something. Relief maybe. Or satisfaction. But it's just empty." "That's because revenge doesn't fill anything. It just ends things. What fills you is what comes after." "And what comes after?" "Life. Real life. With your daughter. With people who care about you. With possibilities you stopped letting yourself imagine." Marcus looked at her. Really looked. Saw the 15-year-old girl he'd saved, and the woman she'd become. Saw someone who understood what it meant to survive and choose to thrive anyway. "I'm still just a janitor who got lucky. You're a father who fought an army to keep his daughter safe. You're a hero who saved me twice. You're a man who keeps his promises." She took his hand. "And if you'll let yourself be, you're someone who deserves happiness." Marcus's phone buzzed. A text from Lily sent with Victoria's help. A photo. Lily in the garden holding a firefly in her cupped hands, smiling at the camera. The caption read, "Come home, Daddy. The fireflies are waiting." Marcus stood. "Let's go home." 2 weeks later, Marcus sat in Victoria's rooftop garden watching Lily chase fireflies with Robert's granddaughter Emma, who'd been invited for a playdate. The two girls shrieked with laughter running through the carefully maintained grass while their families watched. Robert sat on a bench nearby looking content. They're good for each other. Emma hasn't laughed like that since her mother passed. Lily needed a friend her own age, someone who understands loss. Victoria emerged from the building carrying glasses of lemonade. She'd changed. Softer somehow, less armored. She'd stepped back from daily operations, delegated more, spent more time with people instead of spreadsheets. She handed Marcus a glass. "The board finalized the restructuring today. Every company connected to Volkov's network has been divested. We're clean. And the trafficking victims, all 17 have been relocated to safe houses, full support services. 3 have already agreed to testify against Volkov's remaining associates. The prosecutors are building an airtight case." "Good." They sat in comfortable silence watching the girls play. "I enrolled Lily in school," Marcus said. "The one near your building. She starts Monday." "That's wonderful. Have you decided about the job?" Marcus had been thinking about that for 2 weeks. Victoria had formally offered him head of security, but the title felt too small for what she was really asking. "I'll take the job on one condition." "Name it." "Lily comes first. Always. If there's a school play, I'm there. If she's sick, I stay home. The job doesn't own me. I own the job." Victoria smiled. "Deal. Though I should mention I'm planning to attend those school plays too, if that's okay?" Marcus looked at her, saw the question beneath the statement. "Yeah," he said quietly. "That's okay." Lily ran over breathless. "Daddy, Emma invited me to her birthday party next month. Can I go? Please." "Of course you can go. And Emma wants to know if you and Victoria want to come too. Her grandpa Robert is making a cake, and there's going to be a magician and everything." Marcus looked at Victoria, who was fighting a smile. "We'd love to come," Victoria said. "Yay!" Lily hugged them both, then ran back to Emma. "We're a we now?" Marcus asked. "Apparently. Is that okay?" Marcus thought about it. Thought about the years of loneliness, of keeping everyone at arm's length, of believing that safety meant isolation. "Yeah," he said. "That's okay." Victoria leaned against his shoulder. They sat like that, watching fireflies dance in the gathering dark, listening to children laugh, and letting themselves imagine a future that looked nothing like the past. 3 months later, on a Sunday morning, Marcus woke to Lily jumping on his bed. "Daddy, Victoria says we're going to the park, and then lunch, and then the museum. It's a whole day adventure." Marcus groaned dramatically. "It's 7 a.m., baby. Adventures don't start until at least 8. Victoria says early birds get the best worms." Victoria needs to stop teaching you sayings that encourage waking your father up. But he was smiling. He got up, got dressed, and found Victoria in the kitchen, making pancakes. She lived 3 floors below them now, in the same building, close enough to be part of their daily life, far enough to maintain independence. They'd been taking it slow. Dinners, movies, walks in the park with Lily between them. Building something real instead of rushing towards something convenient. "Good morning," she said, flipping a pancake with impressive skill. "Morning. Since when do you cook?" "Since Robert's been teaching me. Turns out I'm naturally talented. Or he's a very good teacher." They ate breakfast together, the 3 of them talking about nothing important and everything that mattered. Lily told them about a book she was reading. Victoria mentioned a new charity program Titan Industries was launching. Marcus complained about the paperwork required for his job, but smiled while doing it. Normal life. The thing he'd promised June he'd give their daughter. After breakfast, they walked to the park. Fall had arrived, leaves turning colors, the air crisp and clean. Lily ran ahead to the swings while Marcus and Victoria followed at a slower pace. "I've been thinking," Victoria said, "about the future." "Yeah, what about it?" "About what we're building. Not just you and me, but all 3 of us. Lily deserves stability. She deserves to know what home looks like." Marcus's heart started beating faster. "What are you saying?" Victoria stopped walking, turned to face him. "I'm saying, maybe it's time to stop living on separate floors. Maybe it's time to make this official." "Are you proposing to me?" "I'm proposing a family, real and permanent, if you're ready." Marcus looked at Lily on the swings, flying high, fearless. Looked at Victoria standing in front of him with her heart completely unguarded for the first time since he'd known her. "I'm ready." Victoria's smile could have lit up the entire park. "Good, because I already talked to Lily about it. She said, and I quote, 'It's about time, Victoria. Daddy needs someone to make sure he eats vegetables.'" Marcus laughed. "Of course she did." "So that's a yes." "That's a yes." Victoria kissed him. Soft and sweet and full of promise. Lily saw from the swings and yelled, "Daddy's kissing Victoria gross, but also, yay." They laughed. Walked over to the swings. Marcus pushed Lily while Victoria stood beside him, her hand in his, and everything felt exactly as it should be. That evening, after Lily was asleep, Marcus stood in the garden one last time, looking at the fireflies, thinking about June, about promises kept and promises that evolved into something new. "I'm doing okay," he whispered to the night sky. "Lily's doing okay. We're safe. We're happy. I hope wherever you are you can see that. I hope you know I kept my promise." The fireflies blinked their gentle light, and Marcus could swear he felt June's approval carrying on the night wind. He wasn't a ghost anymore. He wasn't invisible. He wasn't just a janitor trying to survive. He was a father, a partner, a man who'd fought his way through darkness and found light on the other side. He was home.